Could tiny environmental particles be quietly affecting your memory? Recent studies suggest that most of us unknowingly consume about a credit card's worth of microplastics each month through our food, water, and even the air we breathe. Along with these particles come PFAS, forever chemicals that don't break down naturally in our bodies. While our bodies are remarkably resilient, researchers using advanced imaging technology have begun noticing something concerning. These tiny particles and chemicals may be finding their way to places they were never meant to go, including our brain tissue. Your brain has always been like your most precious sanctuary, lovingly protected by a sophisticated barrier system that's worked faithfully for decades. This caring guardian has always known exactly what to welcome in: oxygen, nutrients, and healing compounds, while gently keeping potentially harmful substances at bay. But these persistent environmental particles, encountered daily through no fault of our own, can sometimes find their way through tiny vulnerabilities that develop in this protective system over time. These openings are so small they often go unnoticed for years. But here's what researchers are finding that's deeply troubling. These particles don't just pass through harmlessly. They accumulate, day after day, month after month, building up like sediment in the delicate machinery of your mind. What starts as gentle disruption gradually becomes something more aggressive. Your brain's protective responses, initially well-intentioned, begin to turn destructive. The inflammation that was meant to help begins attacking your own neural pathways, like an immune system gone rogue. The inflammation that was meant to help begins attacking your own neural pathways, like an immune system gone rogue. Picture these tiny invaders emerging from the most innocent sources. Your morning coffee from that convenient K-cup, your water from seemingly safe plastic bottles, your takeout meal from those protective food containers. Even your non-stick pan releases microscopic fragments with every scrambled egg, while your stain-resistant carpet quietly sheds particles into the air you breathe. These forever chemicals, PFAS, don't just come from obvious industrial sources. They're woven into the fabric of modern convenience: your waterproof jacket, your grease-proof food packaging, your easy clean cookware. Every time you use these everyday items, microscopic stowaways hitch a ride into your bloodstream, traveling like silent passengers through your circulatory highways. From your shampoo bottle to your pizza box, from your dental floss to your hamburger wrapper, these particles accumulate from dozens of daily exposures you never even consider. Like drops filling a bucket, they travel undetected through the very system designed to nourish and protect you. For decades, when these microscopic hitchhikers reached the gates of your brain, that sophisticated checkpoint turned them away. But after years of constant bombardment from plastic bottles, food containers, cleaning products, and countless other sources, tiny breaches begin forming in these once impenetrable barriers. What makes this particularly disturbing is that the companies producing these everyday items have known about these effects for decades. Internal documents reveal that major chemical manufacturers were aware their safe products were accumulating in human tissue as far back as the 1970s, yet they continued marketing them as harmless household essentials. Now these everyday invaders, pieces of your water bottle, fragments from your microwave dinner, molecules from your morning routine, slip through like familiar neighbors who found the spare key. Once inside, they establish inflammatory command centers that turn your own immune cells into confused soldiers attacking the very neural pathways they were meant to protect. The terrifying reality is that this assault is virtually inescapable in modern life. Those in their 70s and 80s have endured the longest exposure to this chemical assault. Decades of accumulation from when these miracle chemicals were first introduced as safe household conveniences. Their neural barriers have withstood 40 to 50 years of constant bombardment from sources that promise to make life easier and safer. But perhaps most heartbreaking is what's happening to developing minds. Today's children are born into a world where these persistent chemicals have become ubiquitous. Their still-forming neural barriers face an unprecedented toxic load from their very first breath, exposure levels that previous generations never encountered during their critical brain development years. But here's where this toxic assault becomes truly devastating. It systematically shuts down your brain's most critical repair and maintenance system, the production of a vital growth factor called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as your brain's master repair hormone, the signal that tells your neural maintenance crews to build new connections, strengthen existing pathways, and repair damage from daily wear and tear. In a healthy brain, specialized factories throughout your neural tissue work around the clock producing this precious substance. But when those inflammatory command centers established by plastic fragments and forever chemicals begin their assault, one of their first targets is these vital BDNF factories. The toxic environment they create doesn't just damage existing neural pathways, it sabotages your brain's ability to repair and regenerate them. Here's where the story takes a remarkable turn. In Japan, researchers studying patients who'd experienced sudden brain shutdowns, events where half the brain loses function for minutes at a time due to oxygen deprivation, made an extraordinary discovery. They found that a simple molecule, when delivered during these critical moments, could help restore function to brain regions that was thought to be permanently damaged. What stunned researchers was discovering that many brain cells weren't actually dead. They were in a state of programmed cellular suicide triggered by inflammatory signals. But here's the breakthrough that changed everything. This molecule didn't actually prevent brain cell death. It actually restored the shuttered BDNF factories. The same inflammatory environment that had been choking off your brain's repair hormone production suddenly became calm and nurturing. Picture those neural factories, their workers no longer under toxic assault, gradually returning to full production. The machinery that had been sabotaged by inflammatory invaders began humming back to life. BDNF levels that had been suppressed for years started climbing back toward healthy ranges. With BDNF production restored, your brain's specialized maintenance crews, no longer starved of the growth signals they needed, could finally get back to work. Neural pathways that had been deteriorating began regenerating. New connections started forming. The protective coating around neural highways began rebuilding itself. The most remarkable part? This neurochemical renaissance isn't triggered by some complex pharmaceutical intervention. Once this molecule enters your brain, it doesn't just randomly scatter everywhere. They're drawn specifically to the areas experiencing the most inflammatory damage, like heat-seeking missiles that ignore healthy tissue and zero in only on the neural neighborhoods under attack. It's as if they can smell the inflammatory fires destroying your neural maintenance crews. They bypass all the healthy, well-functioning areas of your brain and concentrate their protective effects exactly where the damage is happening, delivering targeted support directly to your overwhelmed neural maintenance teams when and where they need it most. This selective targeting means maximum benefit with zero interference to your brain's normal operations, like having a specialized rescue team that only responds to actual emergencies while leaving everything else untouched. But here's the critical situation we're facing right now. Word about this Japanese breakthrough has spread faster than we anticipated. Our current production batch is nearly sold out, and manufacturing simply cannot keep pace with the overwhelming demand from families desperate to protect their loved ones' cognitive health. We have fewer than 200 bottles remaining at the current price point. Once this batch is gone, our next production run isn't scheduled for 3 months. And given the surge in demand, there's no guarantee the price will remain this accessible when inventory is restored. Don't let your most precious memories slip away while this breakthrough sits just one click away.